the year 2028, one Big Mac will equal $1 million. From the Gospel of John McAfee. Bro, just learn to code. The Project Freedom Podcast.
Boom, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. And tonight, actually, subscriber T-Man Scott asked me to do a breakdown of all like the nuances that it would entail to create a resume for a software engineer. So something I'm pretty familiar with doing with myself for about a decade, along with clients, et cetera, blah, 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 blah. So we're going to do that tonight. And to note, that doesn't have to do with like just, this is going to be not only applicable to like just software engineer position. All right. This is going to be applicable to anything in IT, but in actuality, guys, you could apply this to like, you could just remove some of the words that I say and apply this to like any field. Now, hopefully, if you're doing that to another field, hopefully it's something that you can add flashy buzzwords to. So if you're applying for like, I don't know, let's just say the local garbage disposal unit, that might not be the easiest thing to do, but I think you guys get my point. Okay. So let's go ahead and just do that right now. And afterwards, if there is anybody that has, if you guys got any personal questions, just hit me up in the chat. I'll be paying attention, and I'll do my best. I'll do my best, what I can, to answer that for you, if applicable. Okay. So you guys know me. I like to break things down into steps, right? So we're gonna break this down into 3 steps, and these 3 steps are gonna have sub steps in them, but we're not gonna say, hey, this is a sub step, blah 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 blah. Okay. I'm just gonna explain to you guys how this works. So step 1, guys, step 1 is basically to start with what you already got. All right. So if you already have a resume, great. Perfect. If not, then I can give you guys an example right here of a basic resume template. Now, obviously, I am not John Smith. You are not John Smith. But I think you guys will be able to get the point. Let me try to actually enlarge this a wee bit so you guys can see. This is on 2 pages, and this is a rather detailed one. My personal opinion is that when you're dealing with a resume, you always want it to be on 1 page. The reasoning for that is because the people, the Karens in HR that are going to be looking at this, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Like, if you get your feelings hurt, sorry, but you're not that important. Most of these people really don't care who you are, and they don't know who you are. And it's not like an A-class celebrity is handing in, technical information or something like a letter. Like they're not gonna sit and read the entire thing. And that's not all of them. Some of them will. Some of them might. Okay, some of them actually might. But just when you're writing this, guys, just assume that Karen in HR is going to be the first person to read this. And if it doesn't pass Karen from HR's battle test and it can't make her, can't catch her attention, and it's too boring or over bloated, she's going to glance at it. So let's just say it's too over bloated and too big. She's going to glance at it and be like, okay, this is too much. I don't even want to read this. I don't even feel like reading this, especially because the fact that it's like formatted awfully and blah, blah, blah. So try to keep it on 1 page, because having it on 1 page allows it to be like less overburdening. Okay. But that being said, although this is more than 1 page, you guys can see what's going on here. So they have, your name, all right, title, business analyst, replace it with whatever, or whatever you're applying to do. That title needs to go here. Okay. That title go here. Let me enlarge this for you guys. Title go here. All right. And then you want your professional summary. And this is just like, you don't, and do not write a novel for this. And in all honesty, guys, you don't need a professional summary, but if you want to go by this template, it looks nice, it's great, and it works. Okay. I've used this in the past, and I've put maybe like 2 or 3 sentences. So obviously this is like lorem ipsum. This is like, this is literally Latin on here. Just lorem ipsum text. If you don't know what lorem ipsum is, just Google it. But anyway, filler text. All right. So 2 or 3 sentences of filler text explaining, hey, I am this, this, and this. Here are my positive attributes. And I love to do what I'm applying for. All right. Next, we got employment history. All right. So just basic titles. All right, guys. Title. Try to keep the title compressed. Don't have the title be like, if you actually did like 8 things on your job, don't have that be like, don't make the title, don't make one title into 8 titles. Okay. Just, you have to take my word for it. They're going to be like, I don't know what this person did. They put 8 things. Okay. Then date. And obviously in this instance, the one at the top is going to be the one that you're currently working in. So you want to put present. So from the date that you started till present, and then some bullet points that aren't overloaded with something that you did. So analyzed this, programmed that, looked at this. If it's important, put it in there. Okay. Same thing goes on and on in a descending order. So you want to go all the way back to your, your first position. And so here's another thing, guys, and I'm going to get into this in a second. If you've done in your entire lifetime, like 18 jobs, and your first job was you used to work at an ice cream truck when you were 14, okay, you don't need to include that. Okay. But if you've only worked 3 jobs in your first job, because you're 21 years old and your first job was you were working for an ice cream truck, you do want to include that. Okay. And we're going to get into later what we're going to do with that ice cream truck position. But just for now, first things first, step 1, you want to include that. All right. The next is going to be, education. Obviously, if it's applicable, put it in there. And this isn't just like high school or college or associates, like any kind of educational briefing or anything you paid for education wise, put it in there. Okay. Details, phone number, email. Obviously you want to do LinkedIn, GitHub, your personal website. If you don't have a LinkedIn, you need to make one. And if you're applying for a software engineer position, you don't have a GitHub, well, you need to go back and watch the video that I have titled "How to Become a Software Engineer," because if you don't have a GitHub, you're not going to make it. All right. You're not going to make it. Accomplishments, brief bullet points. If everything on this list already, guys, for your positions is you already have so much on there, don't even worry about the accomplishments. Okay. That should speak for themselves. Now, next, skills. Now I'm going to tell you guys something real quick. The format for this resume is actually a little off. And that is because it was from a Windows computer. And unfortunately for you guys, I am a Maxi, and it is on a Mac now. So the details are a little off. These skills right here, they're going to go in this side right here on the top, on the right side hand of the page in a descending order. All right. And what are your examples of skills? Problem solving, testing and troubleshooting, requirement gathering, resource allocation, SQL, programming languages. If you know flashy languages that people are like,
oh my God, it's amazing. Oh my God, I can't believe you know that language.
Well, then you want to use that. You want to put that in there, okay? Computer hardware and software, system administrator, vendor relations, communication, agile, HTML, CSS, C#. So languages, right? One thing to note, if you guys do know like basic Linux operating system skills, I would definitely include that because that's like a dying skill. And there are actually a lot of trad legacy applications and new applications that run or are linked into a Linux server. You want me to download this one now, Kyle? I can. Yeah, guys. Let me actually show you the proper, since that is a jacked up. This is a this is a jacked up copy of that. Let me actually show you guys a proper copy. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you. So let's take a look at this one, guys. I think this one's right. Yeah. Boom, baby. Much better. All right. Now we can actually zoom in properly. Awesome. Okay. So yeah, now we have it all on one page, which is exactly where we want it. All right. And you could put the details wherever you want, but the whole purpose, guys, over here on the right side of the page, to put all this stuff that should be and needs to be included on your resume, that isn't, hey, this is the majority of what I did. It prevents you from having to have it on a second page. All right. It's boom. It's right there on the right. It's swift. It's expressed. It's clean. It's neat. It's concise. And Karen can look at it and be like, wow, I'm Karen and my IQ of 87. This is palatable for my 87 IQ. Okay. So Karen's going to be palatable. It's going to be palatable to Karen. So yeah, guys. Okay. This is what a template would look like. All right. If you guys actually want a copy of this template, DM me somewhere, any one of the various places down there. I'll send it to you. Okay. All right. So that is the bulk of step one. Okay, guys, that is the bulk of step one. Now, I told you guys to include everything on there, right? For now, yes, put everything, including the popsicle truck. Although I said, don't worry about the popsicle truck. But if you right now, if that's all you have is the popsicle truck job experience, then put that on there for now. Okay. So education, experience, skills, tech stacks, languages, et cetera, et cetera. And also one thing I would note, if you are like a younger or less experienced person, extracurriculars it's a great resume filler, right? Ideally, in the long term, you don't have to add fillers to your resume because you actually have experience, but be it as it may, that's how it is. That's just how it is, guys. All right, so on to step two, fellas. On to step two. And now we're going to go to refining it, okay? We're going to refine all the junk that we just blobbered out of there. So first of all, for step two, ask yourself, what exactly is the title of the position that I'm going for? And in this example, I said what? Software engineer, because that is what thine subscriber asked for. So think about the title. Have that in your mind, okay? Have that in your mind during this next process. Now, Noah said add everything on there. But now we're going to read through this. We're going to read through it, or you're going to read through it line by line, literally line by line, and then delete anything that's unrelated to the field or the subfields around it or the generic field that encompasses all of it. So if you're applying for a software developer or a software engineer position, and we have bullet points in the popsicle truck that said like served popsicles to underprivileged children and blah, 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 blah. Remove that line. Okay. Remove the fact that you did something that was irrelevant to tech. Delete all the unrelated stuff and bring it down to one page. All right. One page. That's the most important part. One page, guys. Okay. If you're 50 years old or you have a vast, large, mega, giant experience, you just got a lot of experience, then you might not be able to bring it down to one page, okay? But if you can't bring it down to one page, as close as possible, okay? So now, in this part, guys, some people would probably disagree with me and say that this is not like politically correct, but after all, I'm trying to help you guys in the real world. And so since we are living in the real world, I'm going to keep it real. So now you're going to want to be able to alter and change words where applicable, guys, where applicable, okay, from whatever it currently is into something more tech related and or more specifically, if you can, more specifically related to the exact position that you're interviewing for. Right now, okay, all right. again, I said people are gonna be disagreeing with me on this. I'm not saying, guys, I'm not saying to say that you engineered the code for NASA's rocket launch system when you worked at McDonald's behind the computer. Okay. I'm not saying to do that. But what I am saying is that if you did have to deal with technology on a job in one way, shape, or form, and even better, if you had to do something that's specifically technical in nature, and then even further and better on top of that. So again, what we were applying for, software engineer, if you had to do anything that had to do with creating, editing, maintaining software, period, writing software, whatever, on that job, not only do you want to mention it, but you want to be able to change the name of the title and things in the description to accommodate for that. Okay. So like I said, again, I'm not saying that if you maintained the POS system at McDonald's through the drive-thru, that you should say that you engineered NASA's rocket launching software. Okay. I'm not saying to do that. Okay. That would just be a blatant lie. And technically you can lie. And there honestly guys, there are instances where you probably would be better off lying than not. Won't talk about that tonight because I've talked about that 1,000 times, but I am saying change the name and to emphasize it. You're basically emphasizing what you did by changing the name slightly and changing the wording on some of the things you did slightly to accommodate more of a technical and or even more so in this example, software engineer, I guess we could say esque manner. Okay. So for example, guys, I told you guys what not to do. Okay. So I said, don't say that you engineered the software for NASA's rocket launch when you were doing something at McDonald's. Okay. But let's just say you worked at a company or maybe you worked for the government and you took old maps from like the 1970s from a filing cabinet and you scanned them, processed them, and uploaded them to an application and then into a database to basically be digitized. All right, to be digitized. So if you had the previous title like document clerk, you could say digital transcriber. And in the summary, instead of saying like, hey, I scanned things, all right, you'd say transcribed and processed antiquated map data to local database for application use. Okay. Literally, there's no lie in there. That's the exact same thing, but you just made it sound better. And in actuality, guys, that the way that I said it the second time, that's actually if you were to tell me either of those two, the second way would have been a lot more clear to me as to exactly what you were doing. Okay. That would be step 2. All right. Do that through everything and then you'll be done. Okay. Now, finally, step 3, folks. Step 3. So now we have what I would call like our fishing lure. All right. We have a nice, flashy fishing lure. And now we're going to go fishing. Now, all you have to do is start applying. Use this brand new fishing lure that you have. See and take note where you're getting hits from. So, you put a certain kind of fishing lure in a certain kind of spot. What are you doing specifically? Like, are you getting hits from it? Are fish nibbling at it? Are people calling you back with interest or not? Okay. Are they going to take your bait? And throughout this process, what you're going to do is you're going to see and analyze all the positive signs and feedback that you get, because some people actually will be kind enough to give you feedback. Believe it or not, some of these people actually will be kind enough to give you feedback. Some won't. They just won't even call you back. But like I said, we're talking about the real world, right? And then do the same thing for the negatives. See and analyze all the negatives from your results and feedback. And then you take that feedback and you readjust accordingly, okay? Now, this could even be more so tailored towards the same exact position, but for different companies. Okay. This can actually get pretty nuanced. And this is something that I spend a lot of time with my guys going over many times, many moons. All right. So in essence, guys, it's really that that's really that it. That's it. It's not, rocket science, but it does take a helping hand and some time and some sweat equity. That's about it. All right. So now that I can explain, or now that I've explained that to you folks, I can check in with you guys. Riley says, "What's good, Josh? What's up, dude?" Kyle saying yes. Christian Soto saying fire sign emojis in the chat. Cootie Moose in the Who says, "What's up?" It's got to ruffle Karen's jimmies a bit. Yep, it's got to ruffle Karen's jimmies a bit for sure. JP says, "Are you saying this is something I need? This is very important for any work. Fire Karen proof." Yes, indeed. See messages for PDF. Yes, I did. Thank you. Hello, Patricio. CE2. Rugtricio. This is genius. Thank you for this. Yeah, well, you're welcome, Scott. You are very welcome. Sam said, excuse me, guys. Thank God I have a mute button. Sam said, should I put drip on my resume? I would, bro. Bro, if you applied to Guava, if you weren't already working for Guava, if you applied to Guava, bro, and I saw that drip on that resume, you best believe I'd be like, man, dude, let's just forget about the rest of the resume. We're going to hire this guy right freaking meow. So, guys, I think Spark 55, what's up? What's up, my friend? Good to see you. I think it's pretty simple, guys. Like, in essence, to compress it, guys, put everything you have on a paper. Everything. Okay? Everything you can think of. Then, when you're done, go back, top down or bottom up, whatever you want to do. Analyze and say, okay, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad. It's the equivalent of like if you're going to move somewhere, if you're moving from one house to the next, taking all your stuff, just throwing it on the floor, and then bringing it to two separate piles. We're going to have the keep pile and maybe the goodwill pile or the throwaway pile, all right? And you're just going to delineate between the two. Hey, this is the keep pile, this is the throwaway pile, all right? When you have everything from the keep pile, you want to take those clothes and put them in the washer machine, right? You don't want them, you don't want like the old crusty clothes. Some of them might need some sewing done to them, whatever. That's where we're going to be the adjustment part. So we're going to, in the same way that we would for those clothes to wash them and sew them or whatever, we're going to go ahead and tailor these specific details and positions into something more tech related, or in this instance, software engineering, software development related. All right. And then 3, say, I got my bait. I'm going to go fishing. Go fish, get the data that you need, do some data in reconnaissance, DNR, and come back to yourself or your mentor or whatever with your findings and adjust accordingly. All right. So, friends, I hoped that helped. I hope you all understand what I said. And hey, again, guys, if you do want a copy of that template, DM me on Telegram, DM me on Instagram. It might take me a bit to get back to you guys. But indeed, I will. And that is all I have for you guys. As always, I love you all, and I'm out. See ya.